Channel. I am going through something here as usual, trying to do an edit, and it is not working for me. I think that's something that's best left for another time. Let me get back to the live stream. How's everybody doing out there? Let me make some adjustments with my lights. There we go. Looking good. And let's turn this one on. Yeah, that helps. There we go. Well, welcome. Thanks for showing up, everybody. This is Upstairs the Right Music Channel. This is Sunday at Mike's. I am your host, Mike McWilliams, producer, engineer, songwriter, and this is my live stream that I do every Sunday night. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say to you, thank you so much for taking your time to watch. Time is a very valuable thing, and for you to take your time and spend a little bit with me is very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much. Let me see here. Yeah, I like this. This looks good. I'm really not happy with this vertical setting that they have you on now, that they want to lock you into for some reason, so they can compete with TikTok. It's not my favorite, but it'll work. Actually, let me pull this camera in a little bit. Yeah, that works. You know, today I was going through the process of cleaning up my studio. I always said that I, was going to do that through the course of this summer. And I finally got around to it. And it's because I have so many parts. I have quite a collection. I pretty much will have enough parts where I can replace something on every guitar that I have if need be. And I thought that I usually start off these live streams talking about things that are going on here at Upstairs to the Right Studio. And I thought I would talk about that a little bit about parts, the importance of hoarding them. I highly recommend. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Well, we're consistent. Yeah, you're there, Ben. Hey, Maddie. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being consistent with me. Hoard them, really seriously, because, I'm not saying that this is a possibility, but much like prep, there's the preppers out there, there's the YouTube guys who are prepping for whatever, survival kind of thing. Well, you should have that kind of same mentality when it comes to guitars as well, a sort of survival mentality where if, first of all, the tools in order to do the work is a good place to start. And then, of course, obtaining the part, and I consider that to be, kind of parts thing, parts and tools. Gather as many as you can. And one thing that you could start with, I've mentioned this before, and I've talked about it. And by the way, I was too lazy to get my regular cup, so I'm not sponsored by Coke, but I'm sipping directly from the can. Guys, excuse that of me tonight. Is this Gibson multi-tool. Now, I've had one of these for quite a while now. And I have really come to the conclusion that this is a great starter tool to have, because this doesn't just work on Les Pauls. You can work on Strats with this tool. You can work with Gretches on this tool. I know that because I've done all three. And really, as just a basic thing to have, you can tuck it in your pocket and you can do basic work with one of these. This is a good place to start, and it's only 20 bucks. It's a multi-tool. It's got literally every tool that you would need, and I do mean that literally, every tool that you need in order to work on your guitar. Basic work, setups, intonations, things like that. That's a great place to start. So I thought I would start tonight's John B. How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the live stream, sorry. I thought I would start out tonight talking about that as a kind of answer to tonight's discussion. As I was cleaning the studio, and I had quite a number of boxes of parts. And this is fantastic that you have all these parts. It's a good thing you've got the tools to need them. So not just, I talk about parts, but not just the parts and tools, but the tools also are very important as well. I can string on a Strat and put it back together now. I have all the tools I need in order to do that. Same thing with the Les Paul. I have all the parts I need to make some changes, including spare pickups for both kinds, spare plates, spare tuners, but certainly above and beyond all that, I have the right tools in order to do that work. So just something to start out tonight with, to say howdy with, get into you guys' mind. If you're a guitar player, even if you're just a hobbyist, certainly you're a collector and a restorer like I am, I think that hoarding stuff now, because we don't know what's going on, let's just be honest, but geopolitically, we're, we're in no man's land. And anything can happen with supply chains. And I have been in situations, I was in the Great Earthquake 2011 in Japan, and right after the quake in my neighborhood, immediately batteries became as rare as unicorn horns, and things like that. And so you never know. Just parts. Make sure you got them. It doesn't hurt. Also, same with my amps. Last week I talked about how with my amplifiers, I retube them because I have enough spare tubes in order to do that kind of work. So just to start this off, just to get you guys going, start thinking about spare parts, start thinking about stuff like that. I think that it'll do you well. By the way, guys, my regular, just so you know, I got a YouTube video kind of notification in my email from some guy who was saying, hey, you know, I can help you do this with your video and do that with your videos and get you more subscribers and do that. And I said, no, thank you, and kind of blocked him off because just from my experience, that's a precursor to getting in big trouble. I've noticed since I've done that blocking that I've started to get these guys like Patrick Carroll here, and it was this God Selection double X, you know, things like these. So we're going to get that for a while, I think, as a result of that. I may be wrong. If I am, then I apologize, but it certainly seems to be quite a coinky-dink. Also, by the way, I was talking about my audio clicks that I was getting with my audio. I finally tracked it down. It's not actually the audio. It's actually my internet connection with this phone camera that I use in order to record these live streams. It's my internet connector. I put a booster in this room, so hopefully that would have resolved that and some of the audio problems that we've been having. So with that out of the way, let's get on to tonight's discussion. You know, KDH talked about this recently, and Phil McKnight touched upon this. And this being the Fender, what is it called? Fender's recent move into pre-owned certified guitars. And I was talking to a Fender dealer friend of mine down the street, and he asked me, hey, Mike, you know, because he watches the videos here sometimes, the live streams, and he knows that over past YouTube videos, I've talked about, hey, why don't the companies take 10% of their profits and put that into going out into the open market, buying, you know, used secondhand guitars, you know, older ones, refurb them and selling them at a reasonable price back to the general public, or even donating them to schools that need guitars, instruments, things of that nature. And I said, oh, well, that sounds interesting. If they're doing something like that, I'll look into that. And then within a day or so, KDH's video came up. And he basically kind of dogpiled on it and said, no, this is not happening. And from his description, I dug into it a little bit, and in fact, Phil McKnight had mentioned something about it. I'm going to dogpile on it a little bit myself tonight in this live stream. Because I think it's a bad thing, but I have a different perspective, I think, to bring to the conversation. I don't want to repeat what others have said too much. I'd like to add a little extra dimension to this thing. Now, we're going to take a deep dive tonight into Fender's recent move to sell certified pre-owned guitars, which are essentially return stock from their original sale, it turns out. And does this align with the concept of restoring and selling older, well-worn guitars that truly have history, character, mojo, as I like to call it, to them, or is it merely a solution for Fender to deal with overproduction? And if you're like me, and you're here listening, obviously, you love guitars. And certainly, older guitars that we come across, well, every guitar player will come across a guitar eventually that it's beat up, tore up, and for some reason he'll bond with it, buy it, take it home, and maybe it'll sit under the bed and never get touched, but it's there. Or he might seriously work on it. He or she might seriously work on it. And the stories, the wear and tear, the character, those are the things that matters to guitars, I think. I like a good story. Bono Mossa talks about how he likes a good story. Wear and tear, not so much. I think that it's a more amazing thing to have a guitar from the 70s that's almost pristine, as opposed to those who want it to look like it's been under the bed for 40 years. But again, that's to each his own. This pre-certified owned program, does it align with what I've been talking about? What I've been hoping to see guitar manufacturers do? Remind you guys, a couple of before we get started, that at the Court Factory in Indonesia, I've said this before, I'll say it 1,000 times, they have about 3 to 4 shifts, depending upon if it's a weekend or not, and each of those shifts goes through a trailer of wood per day. And I think that that's incredible waste. And overproduction, and we're going to touch on production tonight, and why it would, one of the possible reasons that Fender may be doing this. And I am of the mindset that that's just a little bit too much. And that overproduction and then finding reasons to offload that overproduction in unique ways does not align with thoughts that I have. So I mentioned on a previous stream that I think guitar manufacturers should start taking in older used models, restore them, and resell them on their platforms, or again, like I said, give them school programs. And as I said, Fender did something very interesting recently. They started offering what they call certified pre-owned guitars. But here's the catch. It would seem, as it's been reported by KDH and by Philip McKnight, that it's really just their return stock, and maybe a little bit more worse than that. But we'll just, for tonight's, if you want to get into a little bit more detail, exactly where they're procuring this stock from, exactly, I recommend you go over to KDH's video and take a look. It's his most recent one. I'm going to look at it from a different viewpoint, but I want you to keep that fact in mind. Another fact I want you to keep in mind, if you go over to reverb.com right now, you'll find, type in Fender, you'll find results for 13,458 as of right now. Refresh, that was earlier today. Oh, no, it's gone up. Oh, it's 13,467. So it's gone up about 10 guitars since earlier today that are available for sale on Reverb. And these are made up of dealers, private individuals, and resellers. Okay, keep these numbers in mind. Keep all this in mind. Fender is now offering called certified pre-owned guitars. Now, these guitars are not exactly what I said would be cool. Would be take old guitars and restore them with care. No, they're basically new guitars that were returned within the refund window and sent back to Fender. In some cases, in other cases, well, in most cases, actually, it would seem. Okay, these guitars with minimal use, and then they turn around and sell them only at a slight discount from the new model. Okay, so not only are they taking these what normally would be deemed as B stock and heavily discounted guitars, they're bringing them in, calling them pre-owned and certified, and I believe there's another, according to reports, there's another company that is actually doing the restoration work on them, and even in those cases, they're not even doing that. Gets over to Fender, they stick it into their pre-buy program at a minimal discount from buying a new one. Okay, and it's that in itself. If that doesn't make you say, "What the hell?" I don't know what. All these custom shop guitars are just the way they used to make guitars back in the 50s and 60s. Beach Best Life says, Beach Chill Best Life. Hey, welcome, Beach Chill Best Life. Welcome, sir. Thank you for chiming in. I love hearing from the guys. Yeah, let me hear you guys' thoughts as I go through this. It helps keep the conversation going. 3-Chord Dave in the house. Hey, how you doing, man? Welcome, sir, to the house. Hey. Thank you for showing up. Always good to see you, my brother. I hope you're doing well. If that doesn't get you saying, what the hell, I don't know what to say. Now, when I originally brought this up, I had something completely different in mind, as I described. Taking older guitars with wear and tear history and restoring them to give them a new life. That was my thought on it. Now, these would be guitars with stories to tell, not just barely used items that have just been returned within a return window. That's insane, first of all. Well, guys, and this is a result of overproduction, which, again, that's why I started out with this story about what's happening in Indonesia at the Court Factory. But, again, it all ties back to overproduction. Now, Fender's pre-owned guitars doesn't have that same romantic or nostalgic value to it at all. Instead, it feels more like a way for them to clear out stock. Overproduced guitars that they couldn't move otherwise. And to be frank with you, that's exactly what it appears to be. That's what it appears to be. And, all right, we all know this, that during COVID, they had incredible sales. Fender, most of all. And they, sitting in their C-suites, thought, oh, great, this is going to go on forever. This is the new norm. Well, no, it's never the new norm. Now, I understand that they had to play it up to their investors in order to get the next year's money and say those things. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to actually act upon it. And they were silly enough to act upon that and start picking up production. Sales cooled off. The secondhand market, and this, by the way, does not help, I'll do that a little bit later, is in turmoil and dropping and dipping. And the general economy, wherever you are, you could say is either at the best, not great. So now they have overproduction. Fender is one of the biggest guitar manufacturers in the world, producing millions of guitars each year. Now, according to reports that I could find, Fender's return rate, well, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Fender sales exploded during the pandemic, with their CEO, Andy Mooney, stating that they sold over 1 million guitars. I remember that. And they thought that that was the new norm. Their best year ever. However, that surge has leveled off significantly since. Now let's talk about returns. I kind of dug in as best I could for some of the research papers that I do for another thing that I do. I dug into stats and some insider stats and found they're not made public, but as far as returns with Fender are concerned, there really are no official numbers, is what I'm trying to say, available. But there's an estimated industry view that it's between 5 and 10% of all new guitar sales. These result in return, about 10%. We'll say we're on the high end for today. Now that's a significant number, especially if you're talking about that million. If you have that million guitars, so that means there's 100,000 that got returned, 10%. 100,000 guitars is a lot of returns. Yeah, right? Let's just say that. That didn't happen. Even if it was 5%, you're talking about 50. Okay? Now these guitars just can't go back on the shelf as new, so they become what we used to call B stock. Or in the case of Fender, they came up with the term certified pre-owned. See, it's all in the semantics, guys. I always talk about these things. And what we used to call B stock are now called certified pre-owned. Certified pre-owned. And again, I didn't really get into it, Beach Chill, Best Life, but as far as construction is concerned, yeah, you know, you're paying more for the custom shop guitars for them to sort of construct them in the way that they used to in the 50s and 60s. They can't exactly do that anymore because there's EPA standards that came about in the 1960s that made it kind of difficult to do some of the things that they were doing to exactly make them. So I do want to make that clarification because I really didn't answer your statement there. We move on. Now this Fender could have serious implications for local dealers. And Fender, I know, as I said, two that I know of. Fender certified pre-owned competes directly with guitar shops that sell secondhand instruments. Okay, so you know, it really is great for secondhand for shops to make a better margin on a used guitar. It's a better deal in that regard than on a new one. So of course they want to keep a flow of secondhand guitars in because margins are good if they can get it at a good price. Whereas with a new item, it's pretty much manufactured suggested retail price on it. And I think Fender, KDH pointed this out, and I agree that Fender saw this as an opportunity to get more money. And essentially starting to undercut their own dealers, their own shops. Local dealers rely heavily on both new and used guitar sales to stay afloat. If Fender starts moving a lot of these returns directly through their own channels, it could reduce traffic to dealers. And so, like I said, there's a lot of angle to this. You know, diabolical shit always has a lot of layers to it. And I have to say that from every angle that this has been examined, it's pretty diabolical. So it's got a lot of layers. The secondhand guitar market has always been robust up to a point. And I've reported on that. Many musicians seek out vintage models or used guitars for their affordability and charm. However, the influx of lightly used returns from major manufacturers like Fender could flood it. Now again, I'll go back to that number. This is the reason I mentioned that 13,467 results for Fender on Reverb. That's just Reverb. I'm not counting eBay or your usual suspects. Let's refresh this and see if that number's gone up. 13,468, it went up one. It's just creeping. They're not selling. It's not going down. It's going up. I bring that number to you in real time just to show you that the secondhand market is flooded. It's already flooded, you know. And by Fender flooding the market further with this program, this will drive down prices across the board. You know, you got a big supply and not a high demand, that's going to drive down prices. That's just how that works. And then you're going to see some truly unique vintage instruments like the ones that I roll, and even some of the older Fender Japan stuff and Fender America stuff. That's going to drive down the prices of those as well. It's going to cause, it has a deflationary wind to it. This move by Fender, for all out of greed, by the way, all out of their own greed. And again, like I said, this may not bode well for independent sellers and collectors. You know, there are ripple effects for every move that's made in this market. I've talked the secondhand market as being an ecosystem. And if you start filling that ecosystem up with more capacity than it can handle, then you get these kind of situations. And again, when I wrote this afternoon, I'm looking at it in the real time. You know, this is what's happening. When I wrote this, I was looking at these numbers. So this isn't in the future. This is the direct market and the effect that it's currently having. And this is only going to ramp up as they ramp up. What I envisioned when I first put up, as you guys remember, was that companies like Fender and Gibson taking a certain amount of money, setting aside to get the older guitars, not just the recent returns, but have like a team that goes out to pawn shops and goes out to places and brings these guitars in, and they set them up the best that they can. I'm not saying they got to put a brand new shiny paint job on them, but get them functional and playing. And I'm sure more than a few of them would turn out to be pretty cool already, actually relic, and sell those at a significant discount. Or again, like I said, give them away. Manny Two Hats says, I thought it would be older models too. Yeah. That's what I had hoped. So that's why I'm saying it does not align with what most people really wanted to see. No, it's just a backdoor way of moving their B stock, and at a less of a discount than they normally would have had to. Is what it really is. Now, these are guitars played for years that I had hoped that they would do this with, as Maddie just suggested. As restoring them, imagine a vintage Strat that's been through countless gigs, sweat-stained and battle-worn, getting a new lease on life. That's the kind of restoration that I'm talking about. But now, couldn't do that. Vintage and older guitars have real value. I've demonstrated that on this channel. Not just monetary, but emotionally and historically. Restoring these guitars would bring a new dimension to the market, in my opinion. It could even increase the desire of Fender guitars. People knowing that they're buying from Fender means that they're also supporting a brand committed to preserving guitar history and the environment. It's a great message. But for some reason, these guys, man, it's a great message. Thought of it in 2 seconds. Writing a script while I was baking a cherry pie, a delicious pie that I plan on having more of as soon as I'm done here with you guys tonight. And for some reason, they blew it. It was a missed opportunity by Fender. Fender's current feels like a missed opportunity. Rather than restoring and preserving the past, they're simply selling off overstock and return. While there's nothing wrong with that, it's not quite the same as contributing to long-term preservation of music instruments and their stories. It's a completely different thing. Talk about wanting to be a lifestyle brand. You know, Fender's becoming a lifestyle brand. Gibson's becoming a lifestyle brand. Well, if you're a lifestyle brand and you're catering to that lifestyle brand crowd, they like the hippy-dippy feel-good stuff. So again, a missed opportunity there. Because, you know, you could sell these guitars, you know, you could roll through you might end up selling more of them if you did this than of your new ones. You could production, balance your books out a little bit. You still got to flow through. So you're not negative. You know, like I said, missed opportunity. Now, there's a real chance that this could hurt the secondhand market in the long run, as I mentioned before. More manufacturers could follow suit, guys, selling returns in overstock directly, which might drive down the value of used guitars overall. You know, it's like these guys can't just be happy with their, you know, $2,000 Epiphones. They have to get into where we can work at and do deals and where, you know, and screw that over. Stir that pot. And that's exactly what this is. And unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I think Fender and other guitar makers have an opportunity here to go beyond just selling returns. They could embrace restoring older instruments and focus on sustainability and history. They, you know, Gibson sells off their history anyway. Hey, you know, let them out with the latest edition of the Slash whatever, you know. Acoustic guitar, not really known for acoustic guitars, but whatever. You know, unless he's playing just a little Patience, you know, or something like that. But, you know, anyway, you get my point. They tie off the historical aspects of things. I think instead of putting that on an artist, they could put it on their own history, on the history of their own gear. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? What I'm trying to say? They could embrace restored instruments and focus on sustainability and history. Imagine a line of restored classics or even new guitars made from reclaimed wood. That would be something truly unique. Now, I know that they've done the reclaimed, you know, Gibson has done reclaimed wood. Fender has delved into it, but still, you know, there's a lot of things that they could do there. It's not quite it. All right. Anyway, again, like I said, guys, I'd like to hear what you think about this tonight. Dewey in the house. Hey, sir. How you doing? I am so glad to see you. Man, Fender's doing all they can to screw over retailers. I have lost motivation to support them at the shop I work at. Yeah. And again, welcome to you, Dewey. Good to see you. Yeah, Maddie, I agree. You know, that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, hey, you know, where else can we grab some pennies at? Oh, let's call the B stock that we used to let the shops, you know, handle whatever they could get for it, you know, and instead of returning it to us, now they're saying not only return it to us, but we're going to sell it back at, you know, a fraction, pennies of what you can get. Go to KDH. He showed it. I think the difference between another party that does the same thing was like a guitar that was just roughly $750. By the time Fender put owned on it, it had climbed up to $850, and you can buy a new one 890, you know, like that kind of stuff, you know, even worse than that, I think, maybe, but somewhere in like that. And you know, so they're reaching into the secondhand market, they're screwing over the dealers. We're going to see that really coming up, and they're going to drive down the price of the used market, which, if I have cash and I'm a buyer, that's a great thing. Dewey, man. Hey, thanks for the super chat. Thank you, sir. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. I'm looking at getting a new dog here, guys. I was looking at, there's a dog that was an abandoned, you know, stray dogs, mom and puppies, and Spain, and I'm thinking about adopting a new dog. I'm considering it. It's a sweet little puppy. The brothers and sisters all got taken, but this one is the smallest one in the litter. So I'm considering it. So we'll see. So every super chat can help. I'm going to need it for puppy chow. Coming up here. Matty Two Hats. They sell direct to public. Margins have shrunk and RRP has gone through the roof. Yep. It's not my problem they make too many products, but they are trying to dump it all through detail also. Dewey, my pleasure. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, Matty. Agreed. Completely. That is one of the fundamental themes, if not anything else you guys take away from this discussion tonight, is that I always say we have to support our local. If we don't have them, then we have to go through the Fenders. And it is demonstrably shown that you're not going to get a deal with these guys. Okay? You know? And they're doing things, they know that, so they're doing things to screw over their own retailers. Because they're like, you know what, we're going to start doing this online thing. We don't really need you guys anymore. So now we're going to move against you. We're going to make moves that are not to your favor. Go ahead. We'll see. We'll see if it works. The plans of mice and men often go astray. Isn't that what someone wrote once? Often go astray. Oh yeah, it's a money grab and a whole lot of other things too. It's an interesting development, guys. It's not exactly the restoration and celebration of older guitars that I had hoped for, and Matty hoped for, and countless other people had hoped for. It's more about moving stock, which might not be the best for dealers or the secondhand market. I'd love to see guitar manufacturers embrace the art of restoration and sustainability more seriously in the future. I'd really like to see that. Matty Two Hats. Some cool product, but a lot of rubbish too. Like I said, how many versions of the American Player 2, the American Player 3? Hell, by the time I'm in the ground, it'll be the American Player 18. You know, it's a Strat. I got the parts to build one literally laying here. I got all my stuff here on the floor spread out because I got to get containers for this stuff. Like one is going to be hardware, one is going to be parts, like and bodies and necks and stuff. I'm gonna have to get a couple containers. I mean, this is ridiculous, but the Strat's a Strat. I got the bits and pieces to throw together my own Frankenstein Strat here. Not even Stein Strat. It's a pretty cool one. So what is it? What is it really about? More versions of things that they already have versions of. I just want to remind you guys, a few stats. Fender sold over 1 million guitars in 2020. That was due to the pandemic. CEO Andy Mooney did that this was Fender's best year in its history and decided to ramp up production. As a result of this ramping up production, one of the results of it on the used market, you now have 13,465. Oh my gosh, 3 sold. Is it 2 sold? 2 or 3 sold in the time that we had discussion today. Oh, they are moving. Great. There's only 13,465 to go. and and Fender is adding to this list. Is the point of this, guys? This is, you know, it's going to ramp up from here. It's going to drive the prices of all these down. I already, as I look through this, 15% savings here, 27% savings here. These are all discounts, 19%, 15%, 15%. We're already starting to see the prices getting knocked down on these. You get a Fender USA Eric Clapton Strat 2022 for about $2,000. They're knocked it down off their asking price of 24. So that's a pretty big, hefty dig there. And you're going to see a lot more of that. See the prices of Fenders go down. More versions than the Fast and Furious franchise. Maddie Two Hats with the win tonight. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, you know, it's just ridiculous. And again, a lot for sale in the secondhand market, and that's increasing, and that's not including those that producing. Keep those stats in mind, guys. More models than OnlyFans. Yeah, that's being really generous with the word models. Let's call a hoe a hoe. Trust me, I walk down the streets of Bangkok many a night, and none of those girls ever introduced herself as a model. The term model has really become a like, yeah, my girlfriend, she's a model. Your friends will be like, man, he's going out with a hoe. That's funny stuff, man. Love you, brother, man. You always bring levity to this. Yeah, guys, dig it, man. You know, everywhere you turn in this society, everybody's digging out spots where they can. You know, they're sucking out profits in places that they used to stay away from before. What does that tell you? You know, and that's in a lot of aspects of things. You know, we're seeing in the real estate market, we're seeing property taxes being driven up significantly. We're seeing in insurance markets the same, and we're seeing here in the guitar market, Fender is going to, you know, give a wedgie to the secondhand market. And as I pointed out, I am of the opinion that this is just the opening salvo. Other manufacturers like Gibson, you think Gibson's not going to say, hey, those aren't B stock, these are certified pre-owned. These are certified pre-owned too. We're going to sell you, you know, that B stock, you know, returned warped neck, you know, Les Paul. And we're going to do you a favor. We're going to give you half the warranty on it, and we're going to sell it to you for just $100 less than new. How about it? Even comes with a case. Case sold separately. Yeah, man. You know, just it should be, it's par for the course is what I'm trying to say. You know, when you start dealing in dire economic times, corporations are the first ones to start, you know, looking for different venues that they can siphon revenue. And the secondhand market, in our case, unfortunately, is going to be one of the victims of that going forward. Also out here, Fender's sales and my predictions are secondhand prices are going to be driven down. This is a deflationary move on Fender's part. And since it's Fender, they can control that market instead, you know. And so if you're thinking about buying and you got cash, save a little bit more, it may be a better Christmas than you thought. You might be able to buy 2 of them, the skis. You know, if you're a seller or you're planning on selling them, not probably the best time to do that. And it's not going to get better. So I'm not giving you advice. It's not my position to, but with that in mind, choose wisely, choose accordingly. A lot of implications, you guys, on this one. So that's why I wanted to touch upon it. Like I've said, I'm dogpiling on it. KDH hit on it. Philip McKnight mentioned it. I'm getting on it myself because it's diabolical, guys. And you know me, I love to point out the diabolical. In this one, you know, it's not full on Emperor Palpatine, but you know, it's got, you know, the strength of the thing, you know, at least. It's not completely evil, but you know, it has a bit of malice to it. And so I think that we should, as consumers, always be aware of these things. Don't be pulled in by these words. You know, pre-certified or it's a pre-certified model. On OnlyFans, that means a completely different thing. Ah, God. Don't be pulled in by this word salad, these word plays that these guys use, man. It's just, it's nonsense wrapped in bullshit. I wondered how the shirts are going at the superstore in Tokyo. Yeah, you know, that lifestyle thing, the bowling shirts. I'm going to be there in October, and I'm going there. I'll film it. I'll be in Japan into October. And I will go check this Fender flagship store out myself. I've had a few of my friends send me videos from it. I share with you guys in my post section channel. But yeah, I'll go there. I'll check it out. But there's nothing there for me. After I'll go there to look around and take pictures. But the serious buying is in the secondhand shops, especially in K-Town. That's where secondhand guitar shops with a very accurate list of what I'm looking for in mind, and a pocket full of yen. Because cash talks, bullshit walks, and that's true language. Matty Two Hats, cool as a tourist destination. Well, we have to remember, I lived there for 18 years and have deep ties to. I owe a lot to Japan personally, but I do not see, you know, my tourist days they never existed. I was never a tourist. I was always there working. That's funny. I never went to Japan as a tourist ever. I lived there. I worked there. Or, you know, I was visiting friends and family there, you know. You know, old friends. And that's funny. That's true. I dig that, man. I was never a tourist in Japan. You know, something to think about tonight. As I sat down and typed this out, I was inspired again. Like I said, those two videos, I was like, wow, that's great. I love KDH's videos. He inspires me to dig a little bit deeper, which I tried to do tonight, to pull up some stats and some numbers. I like that kind of video. So if you'd like another perspective on this, go over again to his channel and take a look. I'm trying to get myself up to 5,000 subscriber, guys. I'm going to put out a new video I'm going to shoot this week. Put that out on my regular channel. It's slow and steady. Like I said, I don't know. It's like that Queen song, I want to break free. I want to break free, you know. But for some reason, YouTube has got a thumb on me. If you're new and you're watching this for the first time and you enjoyed tonight's conversation, then I encourage you to hit the subscription button and join this community of great guys. Two Hats, Dewey's here all the time. We had 3-Chord Dave show up tonight. Beach Chill, Best Life, love that. Ben always here. John B showed up. I'm gonna go with God Selection Double X, asking is it pink? Is what pink? Oh, I just kidding. What are you talking about? Wrong channel. That's OnlyFans, guy. You're on the wrong channel. Ain't no pink on this channel. I ain't even like pink guitars. If you ever see a day where I've got a pink guitar, I want you to immediately get on a plane, come here to Amsterdam and slap me. Because that's not going to happen. I enjoyed this one tonight. We had a great turnout. We had a lot of fun talking about this. I am going to, where are we at, by the way? Yeah, this is good. So I'm going to be putting out a regular content video this week. I'm going to actually talk about, I have in my possession a Japan-made Les Paul, a Korean-made Les Paul. I don't have a Chinese Les Paul, Epiphone Les Paul, Chinese one, but I do have a Chinese-made Squire, and I'm going to talk about Asian-made guitars and quality by examining those three guitars and going through the quality of those and talking about that a bit. So that video is going to be coming out Tuesday. I'll edit that and put that out. And I hope you enjoy that, a kind of versus thing. Again, yeah, it's interesting, guys. You know, I am at this point where I like the channel to grow. Is it an issue of putting out more videos necessarily? I think I put out 3 a week. I think pretty good. Is it my thumbnails? Could they be more engaging? You know, I just wonder some of the things that I could possibly do to improve on that. So I will ponder on that. I just think that if I keep building and doing the work and keeping it real, most importantly, keeping it real here, that will help. So we'll see going forward. But again, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Support this channel so that it can grow. I will see you guys next week. I'm going to go have a slice of cherry pie, which I probably shouldn't eat at midnight, but I'm not a gremlin, so it's okay. I want to thank all you guys for supporting this channel and always showing up for these live streams, these discussions, chiming in, putting your comments down in the comments section. That comment section has been quiet, been a little quiet for the last few live streams, guys. So don't forget to put a comment down in the comment section as well. I enjoy reading those very much. And until the next Wednesday, I will see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.